this warehouse system, there are a few functions: storage functions, material handling functions, protection and holding inventory, consolidation, bulk breaking, mixing, loading and unloading, movement within warehouse, order filling and picking. These are the things we have to consider to have a better warehouse management system. Before going to the warehouse management system, there is another concept which you must know earlier, that is logistic management. So, what is logistic? A logistic management is an essential component of supply chain management that aims at catering to customer demands. Logistic management involves planning, controlling and implementing of the movements and storage of goods and services from the point of origin to the ultimate customer. It enables organization to cut down on expenses and bolster customer satisfaction. The genesis of the term logistics was military based, that encompasses how military personnel procured, stored, and moved army equipments and supplies. So the term is now pervasively used across the business industry, especially by organizations in the manufacturing sectors. The process of logistics management is initiated from garnering raw materials to the final stage of delivering finished goods for customers to avail. Logistic management entails formulating strategy, planning, and implementing it to address customers' demand while also considering prevailing market conditions. Logistic management collaborates activities such as raw materials, procurement, production process, and distribution of finished goods. It aims at providing an organization competitive and increased product value for fulfilling customers' expectations. So it also looks at minimizing holding excess of inventory and supply cost. So the both terms are somehow related here. There are 5 R's you have to remember here. That is right product, right place, right time, right condition, and right cost. I'll repeat again. There are 5 R's of warehouse logistics. One is right product, second one is right place, third one is right time, then right condition, and right cost. So some of these elements looks very essential for this warehouse management system, right, to learners. So these are the main important functions that you must understand here. So what are those elements? So let us see here. Some of the elements are: it helps in choosing the right supplier for providing transportation facilities. It assists in choosing the most effective channel for production and distribution. It measures the customer and market needs. It helps in cutting down on inventory and storage cost. Then it focuses on maximizing organizational profits. So these are the various elements that you must understand how a warehouse management should takes place. Am I right? Right. Now, some of the operations, let us list down here. That is, according to a Philip Kotler, market logistics involves planning, implementation, and controlling physical flow of materials and final finished goods from the point of origin to the point of use to meet customer requirements at a profit. But here, while coming for the warehouse management system, you must understand the objective is to ensure all requirements of the customers are met on time, to coordinate with the third party logistics, that is 3PL, sometimes we'll name that as 3PLs, to ensure timely dispatch of the products, to devise policies and procedures for successful implementation system warehouse management system, then to synchronize business goals with the management system, to create and maintain customer support, to have stable integration among the vendors, service providers, and so you have to maintain some stable integration among these people, that is vendors, service providers, and transport carriers, to provide a competitive edge to an organization through increased sales and better customer service. Increased sale and better customer service. To ensure, at last, you have to ensure the cost reduction and maximize the return from products or services. So these are the things you have to keep in mind while going for the management system. So here you have to think of quality products, increase the transparency, then increases revenue, and also you have to enhance the goodwill of the concern, and you have to think of the customer satisfaction. On-time delivery and communication is essential. So these are the various things that you have to consider while coming for the warehouse management system. The storage functions here it denotes you have to keep the goods in a proper storage, and also material handling means you have to keep the materials in a right manner. Inbound and outbound activities should be taken in a right time and at right place. Then you have to hold the inventory in a proper location and in proper storage places. Then you have to consolidate all those things in a right way. The bulk breaking of those consolidation to be taken place based upon the demand that you received from the customers. Then you have to mix some orders to reduce your cost. Loading and unloading activities has to be done in a proper planning manner to reduce the unnecessary expenses, that is distribution logistics has to be taken place here. Sometimes the process involves order processing, warehousing. So in such cases, you have to see the order processing, warehousing, and transportation should be done in a right manner. Distribution logistics is more important here because quantities of production vary from time and demand. Is it? Yes, exactly. It involves sending its produced merchandise to the retail stores through distribution and wholesalers. Yes, the logistics system of Pepsi that delivers the foods and beverages of the company to the retailer is the best example for the distribution here. So the loading and unloading activities has to be taken place in a better logistic manner. Then after sale logistics has to be considered. Disposal logistics is essential. Sometimes reverse logistics, global logistics, domestic logistics. There are many things we have to think of while coming for the loading and unloading process. At last, movement within the warehouse sometimes will take place to manage the space here. Then order filling and picking is also an important aspect you have to understand. So here these are the various warehouse systems you must know. While coming for storage, these elements are important for a retail enterprise particularly. The merchandises are required to be stored, warehoused, and handled in a proper manner. Some of the important aspects of these elements are warehouse location and storage type and material handling equipments are here are important components. Then while coming for the packing, it involves transportation of merchandise and reduces the possibility of damage caused during the transit. For example, if items such as processed food are not properly packed, then you see these can perish in transit. Is it that will lose our cost and profit? So here inventory to be take place in a right manner also. It refers to stock of materials in retail organizations. Retail organizations maintain inventory levels on the base of sales and demand forecast. Then you have to think of the transportation also. An effective transportation system ensures timely delivery of merchandise from, sorry, timely delivery of merchandise from suppliers to the warehouses, from warehouses to the distribution centers, and from distribution centers to the retail stores. Then, at last, information and control. These are the most important elements in warehouse management. Retail enterprise needs to have access to the retail time, information, and control over their logistics operations. Large retail enterprises such as Walmart uses specialized software to keep the track of their operations. So likewise, we have to manage these order processings. Some pickings, sortings, package formation, consolidation, all these are very essential. So the order processing needs some important aspects, that is, it entails taking and collecting products in a specific quantity prior to shipping the order of customers. Then sometimes the sorting will take place. It refers the process of separating the goods as per their destination. Then here it is crucial for sorting products as it eases the shipment of products. If sorting is not done in correct manner, then it will create a mess for shipment team and the order will not reach the target customers. So you should be very careful in this stage. Then packaging. So here also it is an important part of order processing as it includes weight, label and pack products. The order packaging should include weight, usage and specification of the product to inform the customers how to use the product. Am I right? So the packaging should explicitly mention the date of manufacturing, batch number, expiry date or best before date, price of product, organizations producing the products, etc, etc, etc. So this packages informations will give a clear picture about the product. So this is also essential. Then at last it consists of accumulating packed products to loading bays to be transported. At the loading bays, the goods will be gathered where bill of lading and various documents will be prepared. The packing of goods will also be inspected whether the outer packaging is sturdy enough to bear the loading and unloading of goods. So the packaging should also be efficient enough to prevent products from pilferage and spoilage. Am I right, learners? So these are the things we have to consider while coming for the warehouse management system. The next is some key functions are given here. So the key functions are tracking inventory, then layout planning, labor management, order processing, analytics, paperless documentation, reliable customer service, increase productivity. So order taking is not an easy thing here. Order taking is fundamental to any transactions between the manufacturing organization and the supplier. So order taking comprises the requisite details such as the specification of the product and at the same time undertaking logistic activities assures that orders are processed in time as per the terms. So tracking is essential here. It ensures that the orders are fulfilled in time so that needs of customers are met. Timely delivery of orders will enhance the customer's trust in the organization. So here this has to be planned properly. Layout planning, yeah, the layout, sometimes inventory planning to be taken place. Proper inventory management ensures seamless supply of products but also cut down on storing cost. So logistic ensures that there is neither excess of products in inventory nor deficit. Haphazardly managed inventory will lower the profits of manufacturing organization and may even lead to pilferage in the stocks. So here the management has taken place. A warehouse can be deduced as a spinal cord of manufacturing organization, a place for various logistic activities. An ideal manufacturing organization can be measured by its efficacy in warehousing decisions. A warehouse should be located near a point of consumption and should be able to store sufficient products in case of unforeseen demand of products. Factors such as warehouse location, size, layout, and design play a crucial role in these activities of manufacturing organization. So these are the things you must remember here. Then material handling is also important. Order processing is important here. So here the information sharing is most important here. All these things to be remember before getting into the work. These are the key functions. So it ensures high customer service levels. It maintains high quality product delivery. It helps in minimizing the cost for transportation of products. It facilitates and have flexibility and shiftness in changing market environment. And at last, it assists to maintain a balance between the quality of service and low cost. So these are the key functions. So let us see some benefits of warehouse. Shipment consolidation. This is very much economical, and sometimes lowest possible transportation will help a lot to the management. So what do you mean by shipment, lowest shipment consolidation and lowest transportation? Here it denotes transport is the single most important aspect of activities in manufacturing organization. The physical movement of finished products is vital, as unless products do not reach the target customers, the demand or the customer satisfaction cannot be fulfillments, automatically you lose all your goodwill. So transportation ensures delivery of products from the point of origin to the point of consumption. So timely availability of products is a prime importance, as only then the reason to manufacture a product will be attained. Am I right? This is the possibility here. At the same time, economical, you have to follow the proper material handling to be economical. Material handling is an important logistic activity for manufacturing organization, which need to be meticulously looked after. Inefficient material handling may result in product damage, delays, pilferage, spoilage, etc. Introduction of automation in material handling has proved to be a boon for manufacturing organizations. So automation ensures smooth volume, speed, and the level of service in the material handling. This helps to reduce the warehouse issues. These are some benefits of the warehouse. So here in this benefits of warehouse, you understood that shipment consolidation should be in economical manner and lowest possible transportation to be used to reduce the cost of warehouse. Then consolidation warehouses, you must have 2-3 plant structure, plant A, plant B and plant C. You have to go on with the track of warehousing and to have a better planning structure and implementation to minimize the warehouse cost here. Then warehouse processing. This warehouse processing includes warehouse can also be used to postpone or delay production by performing processing and light manufacturing activities. For example, vegetables can be processed and canned in brights at the manufacturer. So here the warehouse processing is a critical task and also a crucial task to understand. And also at the same time, this is a very essential element to understand how the process will take place in a warehouse. So key process in operations are warehouse process means this looks at the processes that supports the activities of receiving, storing and dispatching. Each of these must be provided for and performed precisely. All the processes have a direct or indirect influence on the stock. The functions of warehouse is getting focused from storage dominance to transaction dominance. Okay, so the warehousing functionality today is much more than the traditional function of storage. The design, good and time pressures vary from facility to facility. So these are some of the warehouse process and operations are stock purchasing, inbound transport, arrival and identification of goods, receiving bay, transfer of stock into storage, pick phase replenishment and lay down of stock, dispatch assembly area or assembly of goods to create a transport load, delivery of goods and obtaining proof of delivery, POD and billing, return of unwanted goods, stock write-off, stock count. So these are some of the key operation process. Packing, distribution, process handling of returning goods, process of adding value to the products. So you have to think all these things. So the stock purchasing here, it denotes the facility must carry the correct stock to provide cost effective and cost efficiency means to customers. This process to achieve through the replenishment of the inventory. The aim is to alter the buying quantity or frequency so that there is a continuous flow of products is moved in the facility to match the uncertainty in inbound supply channel while matching orders received from customers. Placing an order leads to the arrival of inbound transport to the facility. Hence, if the process is managed and unconditional and coordinated, well, the transport will be efficient. And transport and identification of loads is also essential. Transport must be scheduled. Arrival of transport must be planned so that the facility can provide staff to handle the unloading, the equipment to move the goods, and capacity to handle any discrepancies between the stock ordered and delivered. The recommended steps to handle the transports are: the supplier books the transport load to the delivered to the facility. Then second one is the load. Here the supplier has to identify all these things. The most important things here are: the load details are confirmed with the facility. Transport arrives at the facility within the scheduled arrival period, and the check is merely a confirmation of the load. Merely a confirmation of the load. The order number is checked. The door number, and that is the door where the truck should be discharged, can now be allocated. The truck waits for the door to become available. It is then discharged quickly and efficiently. Once the receipt of transport is arranged, orders can be unloaded. The facility must transfer the goods into storage. The facility will incur the functional responsibility of for the purchased goods. The receiving bay process involves checking the quantity and quality of the goods. The packaging must be in goods condition and suitable for storage and sale. The unloading must be efficient and cost effective for all parties, yet allowing checking of quality and quantity. The best method here it is: allocate the receiving bay for the goods. Choose a door that minimizes the distance the product has to travel to its storage location. Load the goods from the truck and place them on the floor, starting as from the truck as possible in the first of demarcated, that is marked arrows. So goods must be moved into a designated storage space. The move must be confirmed with the warehouse management system. If not done, the warehouse management system will assume that the goods are still in transit between the receiving bay, stock location, and there. Clear making of the storage location lead to accuracy. That is, error of the product in the wrong location is a major problem. Am I right? So here this is a major problem. Has to travel to its storage location. Load the goods from the truck and place them on the floor as regards. So this is the way the code number is allocated for each slot, which is used to confirm that the process has been completed correctly. Racks are often identified by designing their alphabetical characters to each space. A, O, S, E likewise may refer to location in the row of racks marked A, then OS column of spaces in the row. Two characters are used in the group as the number of columns may exceed 10. Okay, so on space marked E, which is the fifth space whereby vertically in this column. This way the coding numbers will take place, and that helps to process handling the value of products in a right manner. Then pick phase replenishment. There are two types are there: replenishment and down the stock to pick phase. Full pallets are stored in the upper levels so that easy accessible levels are left for pack phases. Then the process of moving pallets from these upper storage levels enter to pick for on the dispatch or area is called lay down. Okay, so pick phase replenishment. What is pick phase replenishment? Here, the place where the selection or pick of a product for dispatch occurs. It is usually near the floor or walkway level where the goods can be accessed easily. As stock is picked from the pick phase, it needs to be replenished. Pick phase replenishment must be done as highest priority activity in the pick cycle, because it is not done in time it may result into stock storage or more goods received that held on. Okay, so let us see that let down the full pull stock pick. So what does it mean? When an order of more goods is received than held on one pallet, it is better to allocate a full pallet first to replenish an order, and remaining part of the order is then picked from the pick phase. So this is the way that replenishment order processing will takes place. Once a customer submits an order, it must be processed to check if products requested fall within the shipping range, availability, and if they're feasible to ship the products. We have to check the availability of shipping the products. The order is mailed to the warehouse where the products will be shipped, and the products are picked or selected for dispatch. Two ways of operations are there. What are those? Let us see. A customer is promised the delivery. Example, internet based selling organization. Stock is reserved as a customer places an order. The reserved products is removed from the stock available to subsequent customers. This is one of the way. And second thing is multiple customers are belonging to a single organization. The customers may be treated equally as a block. If there is a insufficient stock available and the available product is allocated to the customers prorate to the original. So this is the way that order picking will takes place. Instructions to pick a certain quantity of a particular product comes from the warehouse management system in the form of a pick note. A pick note contains information regarding the order and the location of the pick phase where the product is stored. It also contains other informations such as full description of the product to assist the picker. Okay, and it is in a form of printed form or wireless terminal carried by the picker. The recent method is a wireless voice activated picking method, that is voice picking, and sometimes it is difficult to detect errors in picks. The consequences of incorrect errors, incorrect picks, or physical stocks and information records that do not match, and customers who receive wrong goods or even no goods. So the stock in the pick phase must be reconciled with what has been picked to discover the extent of the errors. Dispatch assembly area or assembly of goods to create a transport load. So these are the things are very much important while coming for the packing and distribution process. All goods from the sections of PPC in the facility are accumulated into suitable loads for transport. It must be done very systematically, as goods should be loaded within a shortest possible time and in most effective way to minimize the transport cost. Right, we must always, all the peoples will have a attitude of reducing the transport cost. Here goods should be recorded as received in this area so that outstanding goods are easy to identify. The best way to accumulate loads is to allocate a lane for each customer. The loading products into vehicles must be recorded to ensure that correct product is loaded. The driver of the transport must be held accountable for the product and loading process, as driver is responsible for the product once the vehicle leaves the loading dock. So you have to give some responsibilities to the driver to ensure that goods loaded are proper. The there must be a positive means of confirming the transfer of goods to the customer. Ownership and risk passes to customer on handover of the goods, and there should be no confusion over when this happened and now. Some firms use company stamps in addition to the signature of senior employee authorized to receive the goods. A POD document signed in accordance with agreed procedure is a requisite for transferring the goods to the customers. It records completion of the facility task. Without the POD, the seller will not get paid and may be held liable for loss of the goods. This has to be done while delivering or distributing the goods. Sometimes POD authorizes a facility to bill for the service it renders. Customers are bound to query some of deliveries. POD can be imagined. Sometimes it may be imaged onto a computer system sorted according to the reference number on the POD, so that when a customer queries delivery, and the POD image can be found very quickly and faxed to the customer for confirmation of delivery. Nowadays, this is done in Ola and Uber autos. You can know that once you booked on the Uber taxi or autos, a OTP number will be generated and that will be immediately sent to the customers and the passengers. Now the passengers has to click on it to confirm the process, and later the transfer process will takes place, that is the traveling process will takes place. The same way here, the process will continues here. The customer may also read the barcode information of the goods in their system. The system will print a receipt and send the facility a copy of the information received from the scanned barcodes. Goods must be returned to the facility because stock was delivered in error, overordered, or damaged. Sometimes unwanted goods are delivered, means this may happen. Stock delivered in error. The stock was not delivered to the correct customer. Stock damaged in transit should be returned to the facility and the customer is credited not having received the damaged goods. Stock that the facility agrees to accept back from the customer should be recorded as a returned stock. Goods returned to the facility must be credited to the appropriate customer at the charged by the facility. Damaged goods should be stored in separate area. And then sometimes write-off stocks will take place after the damaged goods stocked. Damages may occur during operation, transport, unloading and unloading. Damaged stock has to be removed from the stock holding in the facility. Goods should be sent to a specified zone designated for goods that are sold at a reduced price or zero value where goods are scrapped. Okay, so once any value received is recorded, the stock should be removed from the facility and stock value loss is recorded here. At last, the process of adding value to the product here, stock counting will take place. Stock counting is done to eliminate the error causing mismatch between the warehouse management system and physical stock. Full stock count conducted by two independent teams which verify each other results. This is often done to confirm stock for financial auditors. If the team agree on the numbers, these are inserted into the warehouse management system, introduced to recount the stocks. The process is repeated until two of the two teams agree. Then the agreed figure is inserted into the warehouse management system. What is this warehouse management system? This is often done to confirm stock for financial auditors. How they are confirming it? If the teams agree on the numbers, these are inserted into the warehouse management system as correct stock quantities. If there is any discrepancy between the result of these two terms, a third team is introduced to recount the stock here. This process is repeated until two of the teams agree. The agreed figure is inserted into the warehouse management system. This process relies on the controlled counting of the stock, and figures obtained from counting the physical goods override the warehouse management system figures. Cycle counts reconcile small sections of facility on a continuous basis. The pick phases are counted every morning when all picks are completed and records in the warehouse management system. The stock counts and the warehouse management system are reconciled immediately. The storage area are also checked continuously. The stock is categorized for the purpose of cycle counting here. High valued stocks are there, transport. So in such cases, high value counted more frequently than medium valued stock, while medium value stock counted more often than the slow moving stock. These are the process adding values to the products. Sometimes delivery will also takes place here. Delivery transportation operation should also be eyed, should also be looked into very seriously. So that is, the transport usually accounts for a substantial portion of the supply cost. When capital changes are correctly included, the transport must be used efficiently. So the transport efficiency is achieved by packing full loads and utilizing the transport for as long as available. Okay, it has been utilized as long as available to the concern. Um, and sometimes you can say that the operation of transport must allow for trucks to be loaded to the maximum volume or mass with the compounding, with the compromising the standards of services required by the customers. That should not be done here. The loads must be built up from goods picked from the various sections of the facility. So the transport should be regarded as one of fleet serving all customers. The loads must be accumulated in a dispatch assembly area in the facility. Trucks can complete a limited number of deliveries in a trip, that is, as they have to travel between stops and then discharge the goods, send and the complete documentation before moving to the next stop. Is it? So some economic benefits to be considered here. What are those economic benefits of warehouses here? It means consolidation, break bulk, cross bulk, processing or postponing, stock pilling, and receiving logistic processing. This can be done to have an economic benefit of warehouses. Now, warehouses. So service benefits of warehouses also will plays a role here. That is spot stocking, safety stocking will also be considered while coming for process of adding the values. Then let me move on to the next one. This is about some key operation process while going for delivering the products here. Okay, the next video is about task associated with the goods receipt. So while coming for the receipt of the goods, you have to plan and the information has to be done in a proper manner. Offloading and management of loading base has to be considered. Merchandise quality control and labeling consolidation and slotting has to be done. So while coming for this, the principles has to be some of the efficient thing, efficient management system has to be done. They are professional attitude, customer awareness, establishing standard procedures, proactive operations, real-time paperless control systems, flexible operations, automation, accurate inventory, priority to quality housekeeping, motivated workforce. These are the some quality warehousing operations to be considered before planning a system. So some warehouse operating principles are listed here. There are three principles that reflects the criteria against which all operations must be measured for efficiency of any facility. The operation encompasses not only the operation within the building, but also the interaction with the transport. Okay, the first principle about designing and warehousing here, goods at rest within the boundaries of a facility outside a designated storage area reflect an inefficient operation. Okay, and second, there are only two desired areas of storage in a facility, the long-term storage areas, including the pick faces and the dispatch assembly area where goods are accumulated to build a load. So these two things has to be considered. And while coming for the second principle, handling technology, the location of goods within the boundaries of the facility must be known to ensure an efficient operation. Then the process of the warehouse require that the whereabouts of goods must be known at all times. If not, the goods may not be available for efficient delivery. Am I right? Yes. Then the third principle is storage plan. People will perform their operations efficiently only if they are trained to do each job in the best way and are given sufficient time to do the job without errors. Storage plan has to be done in that manner that the people who are in the storage department has to be trained properly, and a plan has to be done accordingly the goods input. Time and efforts are required to rectify the errors. Proper farming training in the best way to preventing the errors in the storage area. Then stock is the central point of all the processes in the warehouse. Hence, every process affects the stock and every process is affected by the stock, right? For these reasons, Having the wrong stock in the facility or having stock that cannot be found immediately is a big problem. So that has to be managed properly. Stock managed by three control processes. Each pick and delivery of stock must be completed accurately and recorded accurately as completed. Each receipt of stock must be completed accurately and recorded accurately as completed. Stock must be audited continually. There are many different types of facilities are there, different types of warehouses are there. Based upon that, the range from the terminal, these ranges from a terminal in the harbor that receives products from production facility inland and out and load them into a ship for export to a large distribution centers. One second. Large distribution centers. So at the same time, some supply chains have a manufacturer's warehouse, a third party or a common user warehouse, and a regional DC delivery into a retail stores. All these operations have a receive and dispatch function, and they all track stock and final deliveries will take in place. Okay. The only exception is a cross-dock facility in which the storage function is absent and the process of storing and picking are combined into a sorting operations. Sorry. So a distribution channel operation is very different from a manufacturing process. So its aim is to able to select stock and deliver to the customers in a short span of time. This is about the storage plan. Then some warehouse challenges. Let me discuss about the warehouse challenges. Warehousing challenges. Before going to the warehousing challenges, I just want to recall you the warehousing history. Warehousing is one of the oldest profession known to man. Once the early man discovered fire, it becomes a mission to store the fire to keep it burning. Okay. Hunters throughout history have stored meat during the winter to ensure food throughout the winter season. In biblical terms, Joseph, after being sold into slavery by his brothers, made history in Egypt running the grain warehouses for the Panarak. This leads to the migration of the Israelis to Egypt during the famines and the eventual exodus of the Israelis. So at the same time, this is the way that the warehouse will got importance. In United States, the military outspots west of the Mississippi served as warehouses of supplies, ammunition, and other foods to support the movement of settlers and civilization across the country. So a study of the expansion of United States is not complete without considering the purpose of these storage outposts and the contribution of these warehouses outposts to the success of the country's expansion. A quick look of warehouse challenges is first one is proliferation of stock keeping units. Sometimes we'll name this as SKUs. According to AMR research released in early 2020, the number of SKUs in the commercial supply chain has increased by 15% over the past 3 years. Each of these items must pass through a warehouse or distribution center en route to the ultimate consumer. So this is the akin to the Apple effect. Okay, the more new phones Apple introduction introduces, the more new accessories these are, and the distribution centers has more items to stock. So likewise, this proliferation of stock keeping units will takes place. Instant customer service requirements as a result of the ability to order on the internet, more direct to customer shipments are occurring each day from warehouses and distribution centers. This has several impacts on the facilities. The first is that the distribution center that used to have pallet storage, case storage and bulk storage areas in the facility now how to also have an individual item picking and storage area in the facility. This also impacts packing and shipping requirements and in many facility creates the need for a cross docking area. Pressures to make inevitable smaller you more responsible. Responsive. Financial pressures to lower inventory levels puts pressure on the warehouse manager, distribution centers managers. The typical act is to cut inventory levels across the board. The problem with the approach is that reducing inventory levels for non-productive inventory or inactive inventory will not produce cost savings. So the typical method for reducing the stockage levels is to reduce the level through attrition of the product and not replenishing to the previous levels. However, if the inventory is not moving, the opportunity to reduce the stock through action opportunity here the typical method for reducing the stockage levels is to reduce the level through attrition of the product and not replenishing to the previous levels. However, if the inventory is not moving, the opportunity to reduce the stocks through attrition is not available. Okay, so the results from this technique is usually frustration and no visible improvements in the inventory values. The move to smaller inventories may be relooked by many companies after the panic buying of 2020 and coronavirus pandemic. Perhaps some just in case inventory really is needed. Just in case inventory is nearly needed in this case. The more production techniques to improve the responsiveness of the inventory while reducing the inventory value is to do an analysis of the inventory activity. If an item is no longer moving, it may be a time to completely eliminate the product from the stocks. Then after the reproductive, that is non-productive inventory is removed, the active stocks can be reduce it to improve the inventory and responsiveness to the needs of the customers. Okay, so here the pull philosophy, what it states, the pull philosophy is an outgrowth of just in time. The deals of just in time and the pull philosophy or pull methodology are discussed already, we discussed in some process. So here the pull methodology means you are making the products saleable, and that was last in first out method is applied here. Sorry. Then the concept is counter to previously pressure the reduce inventory levels. So smaller transactions. Here in this case, this has already been discussed. The transactions should get limited to have a minimum stock. The number of smaller transactions requires more space in the facility to handle the individual item picking and packing. This also requires additional personnel in the facility. Then value added services. We have value added services in the distribution centers is essential. The pressure to add these services impacts the space utilization in the facility and the number of personnel required to add these services to the offering of the facility to improve customer satisfaction. When Polo added embroidery services, the they had to carve out space from the existing distribution center rather than add on the facility. Then and next thing is you have to think of the complicated MS system, that is warehouse management system, and the proliferation of systems. So every week a new advertisement hits my email box about a new warehouse management system or new updated enterprise resource planning program. Not only do these systems continue to expand and change, but they continue to become more and more complicated nowadays. So these systems require additional training and system analysis to keep the chains strong. Is it? Yes. Then integration of online and bricks and mortar operations. Traditional operations were always bricks and mortar operations. The traditional stores has a traditional way of doing business. These stores received shipments from the distribution center or warehouse and sold the products to customers in the bricks and mortar stores. With the advent of the internet, stores had to change their strategy and were forced to incorporate sales through the internet to customers. They may never walk through the door of the bricks and mortar service. This change in customer support strategy also impacted the way items were stored in distribution centers and warehouses. The purchase of the whole food by Amazon caused a reverse of this. Amazon had to learn how to apply these years of online experiences and apply it to the brick and mortar operation. Am I right? Yes, smaller orders. So in this case, the trickle down effect from the change in customer support requirements was the realization that customers ordering over the internet were ordering smaller quantities of products. The smaller quantities required new picking techniques and new picking areas to support individual item orders. Individual item orders wise rather than the traditional case lot or pallet load shipments from the warehouse or distribution center to the storage items to the stores. Okay, then returns here in this case. Returns reverse the logistic problems and process in great deal. The reverse logistic problem is nothing new, but the increase in the number of items coming backward from the intended customer has created a whole new industry. In addition, the increase in returns and the focus on returns as a way to capture cost from the system has created a requirement for distribution centers and warehouses to have an area for return processing and the needs to store the returned products until the products are back on a store itself or disposed of properly. Is it or not? Yes, exactly. The returns will play a major role in deciding how the warehouses system should operate. Then the appearance of 3PL providers. A 3PL provider is a third party logistics. I already explained in the second slide. Logistics support provider. Once companies realized that doing logistics and distribution was not a core competency, 3PL companies started appearing around the world. Is it? These companies provide the services, warehouse, logistics, and transportation that has been outsourced by companies. There are now over 1,400 companies in the United States alone that perform the functions as a core competency that other companies have determined are not core competencies but are still critical to the success of the company. Okay, these are the various challenges that was faced by the customers.